would sit, awake all night in that dumpy little room. Just me, empty beer bottles at my feet, and the drone of a TV. One night I did manage to drift off in a creaky old recliner left by the previous tenant, but I wasn't asleep for long. I woke up suddenly with a startled feeling that I was not alone. I went to move, but I couldn't. I tried to yell for help, but I couldn't even move my mouth, like it was glued shut by some unseen force. I was paralyzed. And out of the shadows of the corner of the room, my eyes fixated on a dark figure. It seemed to materialize out of the darkness itself, and it stalked closer to me. I could see more of it now. A body shrouded in a black cloak that dragged across the carpet. I couldn't make out a face except for a pair of red, glowing eyes, neither human nor animal, but something born out of the shadows. I broke into a cold sweat as it approached, with a guttural growl as it got closer. Then, as if ripping myself free from chains, I drew in a deep breath, and I practically threw my body out of the chair. In that one split second, the dark, shrouded figure disappeared. A nightmare. It had to be a nightmare. Too much on my mind. Too many beers. Get a hold of yourself. That's what I kept telling myself as my eyes darted around the room. Everything was like before. A late-night infomercial for steak knives was on TV.
And remember, our blades will stay sharp forever.
The cheap, dingy carpet was under my feet, and the shadow creature was gone. I was safe. The next day, I was determined to get a good night's sleep. I read some articles online about stress and anxiety causing night terrors. That had to be what it was, right? I mean, back in the recliner, I dozed off to an old episode of Three's Company.
Come and knock on our door.
Come knock on our door.
The last thing I remember was the sound of canned laughter coming from the TV. And then my eyes flew open. Again, my trembling limbs were frozen in place. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it in my chest. My breath came in ragged chokes as my mouth refused to open. And the shadow creature was there again. It stood over me. It leaned in toward me. I could see its face more clearly this time. The same glowing red eyes, but now with a jagged mouth, wide and deep with razor-sharp teeth. It slowly reached at me with a hand that looked like a vulture's talon. And then it spoke to me in that same guttural rasp. Whenever you sleep, you'll be waiting. Just as its clawed hand was about to touch my face, I squeezed my eyes shut and, using all the force I could muster, pried my lips apart to scream. When I opened my eyes, the creature was gone again. Crying out in both terror and relief, feeling the blood rushing to my limbs, I stood up. My surroundings came back into focus. The television was still on, with another infomercial for steak knives.
Call right now. We'll be waiting.
And then, the cheery voice on the TV began to change.
We'll be waiting. Waiting. Waiting.
Waiting. Whenever you sleep. My eyes widened in terror as my mind suddenly understood. I did shake the paralysis. But I didn't escape the nightmare. Before I could react, I felt the icy grip of two long talons pulling me back into the recliner. My body was pressed against the chair, and the creature crept over me. I screamed and thrashed as it held me down, its gaping mouth now grinning as it moved closer to my face. The sound of metal on metal. And off to my side. The last thing I heard was that